So I'm a little bit late for the weekly forecast. So it's already Monday. So Asian session is already over. But after a very impulsive week last week, I'm expecting some consolidation the first few days anyway. Then we have BOJ and FOMC on Wednesday. So these are two very important events we have to keep in mind. Let's dive straight into the DXY. We see here on the daily time frame that price is in a sideways consolidation. We actually the whole last week it's undecided. We see here on the 4-hour time frame clearly that price is within this range here, and therefore I'm a bit careful on the dollar related pairs. In general, I still think the overall idea of the DXY moving higher is in play. So therefore, I'm more on the risk off side for the coming week. But yeah, we will see. So I want to see a clear breakout of this range first to the upside before I consider short on the, or very clear short pattern on the US dollar related pairs, or a clear break to the downside of the DXY for long plays. So let's see. Australian dollar, even though DXY was in a sideways consolidation, we had quite nice momentum last week, and see now that we are on top of a smaller inflection point here and starting to form a bigger structure. So after such an impulsive move, what I'm looking for is some form of a bigger retrace and a clear structure for a continuation short. But as it stands right now, I'm not really interested in a long. I'm only looking for short. At least a retrace into this previous small low here, or even better into this liquidity point up here, and giving me some form of structure as a continuation to the downside. Euro US dollar, very similar to the DXY. So we had a trade here. This was a break-even trade for me last week. I will cover that in the trade reviews. As it stands right now, we are within the range, and I'm waiting for a clear signal for a continuation short. I will closely compare that to the DXY. If we get a retrace here and some form of a smaller clear continuation structure after a retrace back into this range, I will happily play it short in this area. Otherwise, I will wait for a breakout of the range to the downside for a continuation short. US dollar CAD as well had a nice long trade early last week. We covered that actually in the previous week's forecast, so it was a very, very nice long. Unfortunately, I missed here the entry because I was looking for another pair, and it did not really fit my plan. So it's another missed trade for me here. We'll also cover that in the trade review in another video. But for this week, I'm clearly looking for a continuation long. We see that here we are in a very nice momentum run, and as long as DXY is not starting to sell off, US dollar CAD long plays are still in play. So as it stands right now, I'm waiting for a clear continuation pattern, give it some time to forming a bigger structure. Here I'm looking at the moment for a retrace at least to the previous low here, or the beginning of the structure for a continuation long. The Japanese 225 is more as a guide for the yen related pairs. Yen started to become stronger while Japanese 225 started to sell off. So we had a very strong impulsive run to the downside here. We see here it's in a small area of interest to the left, where it clearly rejected with nice 4-hour momentum candles, reversal candles actually with long wicks. So it wicked through this area of interest and is now a bit undecided. So right now on the lower time frame, it could also be just a retrace, a continuation long actually, for a bigger retrace before it continues to sell off. So we have here a small base, and it's possible that price might do something like that for a bigger retrace. this of course gives us some direction, some clues for direction of the yen related pairs. Have a look to the first yen related pair. So I only have two in my closer watch list for this week. I'm going for New Zealand dollar yen and Canadian dollar yen, both very similar. So they are right now in a consolidation phase, but we see here on the 4-hour time frame, after this very strong bearish momentum run, right now I'm not looking for a long, even not a short-term long. I'm looking for a clear continuation short, but preferably from a higher value area. So I'm looking here for a bigger structure, a continuation in this area, preferably even a slightly higher in this area. Canadian dollar yen, more or less the same. Here Canadian dollar has slightly cleaner price action with a nice liquidity point in the area, and we already have a 1-2. I'm looking here to finish the third touch with the proper second base, preferably slightly lower before it goes into the third touch. Euro New Zealand dollar, also here on the daily time frame, we see it's a very strong bullish momentum run. We did not tap into this previous high here to the left. It's a clear value area here to the left from August last year. There is also on the weekly time frame, let's shortly zoom out, we see that we are there could still be more room to the upside, so there is nothing in the way basically to just accept. If we clear this high here from last year August, there is nothing in the way for more upside potential. Going down to the 1 hour, we see that we need some bigger consolidation after such a momentum run. So I'm looking for a bigger structure here, or a nice retrace at least into the start of this smaller consolidation for a continuation long plane. Euro Australian dollar, similar. We see that the commodity currencies are selling off, so euro is getting stronger. So therefore the same play like in Euro New Zealand dollar on Euro Australian dollar. We also see here there's enough room to take out some potential higher time frame value areas here to the left. But after this very strong momentum run the last week, I'm waiting for a bigger, clearer structure for a long continuation. Pound Canadian dollar, it can go either way. It's a bit slower and still impulsive in the last leg. There's also still more room to the upside. Canadian dollar in general, I'm biased for Canadian dollar short. So therefore this pair is a bit, a wild card. It could go either way, but we see the range already is big enough. Here alone, this range is more than 1%, so 200 pips. So we can play it either way if we get a fair structure. So as it stands right now, I'm more biased for pound Canadian dollar to the upside, but I'm also aware that there is a very strong value area here to the left where price could at least temporarily sell off after closing the gap here and here to the upside. Preferably price steps into this low, into this liquidity point, and giving me some form of a long entry where I can easily manage the trade at least to the value area here, and then either close a potential long or switch my bias for a short in that area. And having a look into some Swiss francs related pairs, starting with Canadian dollar Swiss francs. Also after this momentum run last week, I'm clearly looking for short. Price should either give me a proper short continuation in this area, tapping into this small liquidity point. We see it clear on the 1 hour, and preferably even retrace slightly higher and backtest basically this continuation structure. Pound Swiss francs, there was a very nice short trade last week. I had a challenge trade here, which I will cover in the trade view. Again, as it stands, I'm only looking for shorts right now. I am aware that price here is still above this very small area of interest. but with the bias of risk off, it's clearly looking for shorts and nothing else. So yeah, that's it. These are the pairs for close watch this week. Might be a bit harder this week, a bit slower after this very heavy momentum run last week, especially with the BOJ and FOMC pending. So there's most likely a bit more volatility after these news events. As it stands right now, I'm more risk off biased, and therefore in general US dollar long plays and Swiss franc long plays, as well as Japanese yen long plays if I get some better prices to enter. I don't want to chase these trades because they had big movements last week, so I don't want to jump into bad trades just because I missed some trades last week. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next week.